My name is Amber Beecraft Johnen, and I have a 12, soon to be 13-year-old daughter and a husband, Michael, that I've been married to for 14 years. When London was born, she had a really happy, babyhood. She met all of her milestone marks and everything was pretty normal until she was about 2.5 years old, just before her 3rd birthday, and we noticed that something was off and she started to have seizures. They didn't look like what people typically think as a seizure, but they were very, obvious something was wrong with her. So we took her to Cincinnati Children's and they did an MRI and lots of testing and told us that she had childhood absence epilepsy. In the beginning, she just had like a few seizures a day, and then it progressed to 20 a day, 25 a day, 50 a day, eventually 100 a day. And her seizures involved like the upper part of her body. She would like jerk forward and her eyes would roll up in her head. So she would lose consciousness during her seizures, and it made school really hard. And she had to have a lot of help at school because of that. As time went on and we were never seizure free, it started to get pretty discouraging. I think we kind of, after several years of really trying to be obedient to God and show him what we want, because we didn't want to see her hurt or suffer anymore, and we didn't want to have to worry about her life anymore. We just we still prayed for her, but we just kind of trusted that he would do it in his own time. And that led us to basically the end of last year. After COVID happened, I think I was really tired of seeing a lot of hurtful things happening to people and hurtful things happening to London. And I started to even question, like, is God even real? Why have we gone through so much of this? In January of this year, London got really sick. That week, her seizures progressed to a point of emergency status. She was having 100 seizures a day, which really affected her learning, affected everything about her motor skills, her life, everything. At the end of that day, she had 600 seizures in one day. But the doctor said that when they're sick like that, sometimes they just need a little medication help. So the doctor called in like a 1-day supply of a medication to kind of help her. It was like rescue meds. And she took it that one day, and she decreased her amount of seizures the next day back to like normal levels. And then that's when the miracle happened. So within a week, she just suddenly stopped having seizures. And she never, after having 100 seizures a day, then 600 in one day, we've now made it 4.5 months, and she's never had a single seizure since then. It's been she had 800,000 seizures in her lifetime at that point, and it's been the length that we've been without them, she's missed like not having 12,000 seizures. Right away, we noticed a huge difference in her. And there were these moments where I held eye contact with her for the first time in 10 years. Whenever you ask London to concentrate on something, it sends her into a seizure. So every time she would read, if you asked her a question, and we noticed that she went a day without having seizures or 2 days without having seizures, and I was sitting down on the couch with her and I asked her a question and she locked eyes with me, and I just started to cry, and she was like, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "This is the first time I've ever held eye contact with you because you're not having seizures." And she just smiled and grinned, and it was like, I knew from that point on it was going to be a different life for her. And this whole time since then, we have just been praising God because it's hard to that our whole lives and our whole identity was London and her seizures. Like, it's hard to even fathom that my disabled child, who has a disability, she's disabled, is now abled. Like, epilepsy is not in the room. It's gone. And it just happened. Like, she was on the same medicine. There was nothing that changed. She just stopped having seizures. And so the fact that she no longer has seizures is like every day for the first 4 weeks, I just cried every day because we were like, she can drive now when she gets older. She might be able to live by herself. We were fully invested in creating this life for her. Safety, you know, with what we thought was going to be her life, and it's just totally different now. And, you know, we've proclaimed Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals. And at one point in our life, we knew that. But with all of the things that have happened over the last 7 years, we just forgot that applied to us too. Like, we were just as loved as anyone else. He knew exactly what he was doing from the beginning. And all we had to do was just have faith and practice, you know, our obedience and faith in him, to cling to those promises and hopes. And now here she is. She's 4.5 months seizure free and is a walking miracle that we never thought would happen. We prepared our whole lives for her to always need us this way. And, you know, we're just really proud of her and really grateful for a God that heals. So anything that you think is not possible, like, beyond the most impossible things are possible. So, you know, we planned our whole lives believing that we had to just come to terms with this biological event for her. And we had a disabled child, and we no longer have a disabled child. So, I mean, I don't want to be cliche and say like anything is possible, but like beyond anything. If it's impossible, it's completely possible. So we were okay with the fact that maybe her healing would come in heaven. We might have to live this whole life of her having seizures on earth, but that she would live eternal life with no seizures, and that maybe that was God's plan. And so if we have to re-envision that his timing is perfect, then we'll trust that his timing is perfect. He healed London's seizures at a time when it should have never have happened. We were making preparations for her to be in the worst physical health of her life, and he healed her then. So when other, time in her life would he make a miracle like that happen and not be just God in the midst of the sea? Like, that's when he would show up. That's when Jesus would show up to do something like that, when I wasn't even thinking that it was a possibility. So we would just cling to the faith that he did it once, he can do it again.